I've even cooked green chili with you, but I've never seen you on stage, and it's a great treat coming up for me and for us. And so, Joe Vitale, welcome. Welcome.
Start with a standing ovation. Dare I say a word? I may ruin everything. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Before I do anything, please look at this whiteboard. Yeah, it is a nice whiteboard. This is very meaningful. There's nothing on this, right? Nice and white, nice and peaceful, nice and clear, empty. So we are all transformative leaders. We're all teaching transformation of one sort or another. I'd be very curious to know how many different transformation elements there are, how many different tools there are. I'd be very curious to know how many of them actually work 100% of the time. And I'd be very interested to know who would like to be a fearless volunteer and to come up on stage with me. Oh, it's like this gentleman. You've been on stage, so we've seen your brainwave activities. We know what you're thinking. I don't know what he's thinking.
Yay, Scott.
Scott. Big hand for Scott.
Thank you.
You're not going to need a mic, you're going to need a pen. Thank you. So what I'd like you to do is be honest and tell me, what do you teach in terms of transformation? If we're out there teaching people how to transform their lives, what works to teach them, to transform them? What method do you teach? What technology do you teach? No right or wrong. I just want to list them on the whiteboard.
Distinctions.
I got distinctions we want to write down.
Meditation.
Oh, I'm going to have to do some writing too, it looks like. What did I?
Distinctions.
Experiential learning.
I want a second volunteer. Is that what I heard?
Experiential.
Volunteering?
No, I don't have to. Who's left-handed?
Oh, I'm left-handed. I'm left-handed.
Come on up. Here you go. All right, I'm trying to inventory these. We got mastermind, we got distinctions. Who said something?
Meditation.
We had heart math. We want heart math up there.
Archetypes.
Archetypes is up there.
Meditation.
Left, right,
Because you
brain.
can't spell it.
Teaching techniques.
Centering.
Trust.
Centering. Forgiveness.
Experiential learning.
Left, right, brain.
Oh, there's a lot of them, huh?
The passion test.
You want a little trademark behind that when we're ready? Passion test.
I got it.
You already got that? Forgiveness, do we have that up there?
Appreciative inquiry.
Appreciative inquiry, somebody said?
Moving people from scarcity to sufficiency to abundance.
Scarcity to efficiency to abundance? Okay, that's a lot. Can you say it one word? Money and use?
Prosperity. Prosperity.
Release?
The left go method.
Radiance? Radiance, please.
Gratitude.
Ready? Shadow work?
Tapping.
Shadow work? What?
Feminine embodiment.
Self? Okay, so you got self-compassion.
Body work.
Trust.
Body work. I don't see that up there yet. John? We want gratitude. Laughter. She's already laughing.
Health and fitness.
Health and fitness is going on the list.
Singing, music. Bhajan.
Singing.
Radical surrendering.
Radical surrender. Radical surrender. She's got it.
Dance.
Art therapy.
Dance.
Art therapy.
Dance therapy.
Dance for you.
Prayer.
Self-inquiry.
Self-inquiry over here. Yes. Law of attraction. Of course, law of attraction.
Active imagination.
Prayer.
Recovery.
Addiction. Addiction.
Recovery.
12 steps. Sedona.
Sedona.
Intuition.
Big mind.
Shifting the occurring world.
Shifting the occurring world. That's big.
12 step.
12 step. Boy, we just keep on going, don't we?
There is no out there.
Yeah, just put 12 step. When you get 12 step, there is no out there. Somebody said. Grief. Work.
Synergetics.
Mars, Venus.
Yeah!
Oh, yeah.
Who gave that suggestion? You got it, Mark?
Who gave that suggestion?
Got it, Mark.
What else? What are we left leaving?
Emptiness.
Relationship as a spiritual practice.
Relationship as spiritual
Joe,
practice?
we need another board.
No, we're doing it on this board.
Oh, okay.
At the point that, this is good.
Right
At the
on
point
top.
where you can't write, you don't have any space, write over what you wrote.
Okay.
Just right on top of it.
mine. So what
Gestalt.
Gestalt,
Okay.
just write right over it. You're not gonna be able to read it, I don't care.
Do you have tapping
Part
yet?
of the point.
Do you have tapping?
Tapping, somebody,
TA.
Tapping.
EFT or
EFT, right, EFT and everything.
Relationships and sacred opportunities.
Sex.
Sex.
Tantra.
That one goes.
Tantra.
Yoga.
Now we're getting to the good stuff. Chanting.
Kundalini awakening. Marijuana.
Scott, dream work.
I got it.
LSD.
LSD. Drugs. Therapy.
You're on a roll.
Rock and roll.
Harmonic tones.
Sex, we got drugs, we got rock and roll.
Adventure learning,
Adventure one, I got it.
experiential learning,
Sound.
Sex, money,
For Terry Tillman.
ropes courses. Good stuff.
ropes, prayer.
Rituals. Visuals. No, rituals.
Rituals. Ritual. You got it?
Act of
Act of
imagination.
imagination.
Seminars.
Keys of excellence.
8 keys, I got it.
Silence.
Billy Graham.
Graham, it's devolving.
Leadership.
No, it's devolving. It's devolving. We got Billy Graham.
Devotional chanting.
Scott, we have chanting.
Mystery school, got it.
Mystery school. Oprah.
Theater of the absurd.
Angel therapy.
Improvisational theater
Improv
techniques.
theater, got it.
You're in the good group for this.
I know, just let them come. What else?
Sounding.
Sound.
Got that, my bad.
Where's that? I think we have sound.
Silence, you got that? Silence, got silence.
Yoga.
Yoga, got it.
Harmonic tones.
Somatics.
Somatics, got it.
Oh, somatic. We got EFT, we
got
got
EFT.
EFT, we got all the tapping, right? S.
You want S?
Yeah, landmark.
NLP.
NLP.
NLP. Was hypnosis?
Projection. Projection.
Transactional analysis, we got that. We got that.
Hypnosis.
Paraliminal. Very
You
good.
got it?
Jungian analysis.
Jungian. Lefko method.
Enneagram.
Hoffman method.
Enneagram, got it.
Life spring.
Enneagram.
Spiral dynamics.
Spiral dynamics, spiral dynamics.
Biofeedback.
Biofeedback. Death.
How about nude whiteboard writing?
Aromatherapy.
Aromatherapy, got it.
Yeah, firewalking.
Jealous of you. No.
Yep, there it is.
Firewalking, got it.
Firework.
Past life regression and all that stuff.
How about vision quest?
Holotropic breathing.
We can just keep going on, can't we? Pretty phenomenal list, right?
Time's up, Joe.
My time's up?
Rolfing.
Channeling.
Rolfing, got it.
Firewalking.
You got firewall?
Amazon trip.
Got it, Amazon trip. Drugs, we got drugs. Personal transformation, physical transformation.
Bodybuilding.
Silver method.
Writing.
Speech acts.
Writing.
Speech acts.
So, we're going to stop here.
Coaching.
We're going to stop here. No, coaching was on. Was it trip to the North Pole?
I think there's a new whiteboard writing.
Back at whining.
Okay, big hand for both of them. Okay, I want to thank you all for coming to hear me speak. So far I haven't said anything. But if you noticed in the write-up, in the itinerary, what does it say my topic is?
Mr. Fire.
Yeah, what the hell is that?
I don't know.
I don't either. People have been asking me ever since until I was called up, what are you going to talk about? And I said, you know what, I don't know. I thought I was originally invited to do a meditation for the last meeting we had for about 20 minutes. Well, I didn't go to the last meeting when you met in Puerto Rico or wherever you met. I did miss out, I know. And so I didn't get to do my 20 minutes. They said, how about if you do an hour now? Oh, that's how it works. You don't do your talk, you don't show up, and it keeps doubling. Okay, so I now have an hour. Great. What do I talk about? They listed as Mr. Fire. What? Well, maybe I didn't tell you. It doesn't really matter because there's a point here. What I tend to do is never prepare anymore, never tell what the topic is unless I'm backed into a corner, and then the copywriter in me will invent some sort of riveting topic, like how to have a 2-hour orgasm, or how to make money while you sleep. Yeah.
Let's do that one.
Okay. You would have showed up. You would have taught that one.
I'll take the 2-hour orgasm.
Got to sign up for that.
Yeah.
All right. So.
Boy, you just built a workshop.
And then as I'm listening to you over the last couple of days, I get more and more interested as well as confused. Yesterday, for example, I was here when you were talking about money. And I've written a book called Attract Money Now. And anybody can go read it. It's at attractmoneynow.com. Just go to attractmoneynow.com and you can read it on your own. And I thought, well, maybe I should be talking about how to attract money. And I talked to Debbie Ford beforehand. And she had asked me, what are you going to talk about? I said, I don't know. I got all these different things. I can talk about internet marketing. I can talk about copywriting. I can talk about my card collection. I can talk about healing. I can talk about Ho'oponopono. I can talk about attracting money. I've written 52 freaking books. Pick any topic, and I'll stand up here and talk. But I thought, what do they need to hear here, now, in this room, all of you? Most of whom I already know on one level or another. Many of you, you don't know what this feels like to be up here. Many of you have changed my life over the years through your work, your books, your speaking. I was homeless some 30 years ago. I was in poverty for about 10 some years. And as I was struggling my way through, I was reading the books by the transformational teachers. And if I can afford it, or if I can get in for free by pretending I was a journalist, I would attend their seminars. And it's you people that made the difference. You know, people like Jack. I mean, I tear up every time I think about Jack or talk about Jack. And people like Debbie. It wasn't until yesterday I met her for the first time, but she has transformed my life, and I'm always raving about her work. And here I am in front of you. Well, thank you for that. Thank you for that. That's amazing. So here I am tuning in, trying to say, what do you guys want to hear? I even got out last night on my balcony, and I'm communicating with the universe, with the divine. I'm meditating. I'm trying to get past all the programming, all the beliefs in me that are saying, oh, do what they're going to think is good. Do what they're going to make you love. They're going to love you for doing. Wanting to win your approval. Wanting to win your love. And then I'm thinking to myself, well, the way I do it is I get in people's face. I tell them the truth. And if they don't like me, it does bother me. But I go about my day. So, last night, the divine said, tell them how to reach the divine. And I argued with it for a little bit, until I realized I was arguing with the divine. And I said, I'm giving in. I'm giving in. It's one of the secrets to success. Put the ego, obeying orders, more or less. Make the ego obey the orders. I'm obeying orders. When I put the whiteboard up here, to me the whiteboard is God. To me the whiteboard is divinity. To me the whiteboard is zero. Nothing there but love. When we put love there, we're starting to write things on the whiteboard. This is relevant. If I say it's the divine, I'm starting to write things on the whiteboard. I say it's divine. If I say it's God, I just wrote something else on the whiteboard. It's God. The whiteboard has nothing, yet has everything. The people who have said yesterday when they were talking about money, the whiteboard is abundance. No lack, no limitation. I have not experienced lack or limitation in my life. I just bought another car, number 9, $250,000 handmade Spiker from Holland. And I don't drive anywhere, I work at home. People say, why do you have these cars? Oh, it's an investment. Really? Well, that's what I tell myself. No lack or limitation. Why? Because I'm taking my inspiration from the whiteboard. When it bubbles up an inspiration to me, I say, salute, I will do it. When people say, how have you written 52 books? You've been in all these movies and you've written all the, or recorded all these DVDs and CDs and this, that, and the other. It's because whenever I get the idea, the inspiration, I act almost instantly. What do most people do? Think about it, question it, have a conversation with themselves about it, wonder about it, doubt it. I don't. I take action. I was told to inform you that one of the things I took action on is in your welcome bag. Fitarita? Everybody got one in their bag. And I'm sorry I didn't give you a bottle of tequila with every one of these packets. What is this?
No, where is the tequila?
Oh, where is it? The bar has the tequila, please. Fitarita. Okay, so I'm out at dinner. I was in a bodybuilding contest at one time, and I was very disciplined. I was very restricted, you know, and everybody's eating and drinking and having their margaritas. And I remember saying, and I slammed my fist on the table, what we need is a bodybuilder's margarita. And everybody laughed. That isn't funny. I mean that. And then it occurred to me, thought was there. Joe, make the healthy margarita mix. A margarita mix, the average margarita mix has 300 to 1,000 calories in it. So when you order your margarita, just that one, that's half your calories for the day. And if you're in a bodybuilding contest, that's your calories for the week. So I thought there's got to be another way. I worked with a medical doctor, I worked with a nutritionist, and I did all the sampling for all of the, you know, the process of making all of the different Fitaritas.
God bless you.
Yes, I did all of that. I did it. I went to war for all everybody. And I ended up with Fitarita. I am not a chemist. I am an author, first and foremost. Sometimes I get to speak, sometimes I get to do other things, but I'm first and foremost an author. I like to write. That's why I have so many books. However, I saw an opportunity, an inspiration. Something coming from the whiteboard said, hey Joe, here's an idea. So we invent this. One company's already asked us, how much for 11 million packets? How much for 11 million packets? Another company says, how much for the rights to sell this in Africa? Another company says, well, we want to sell it to the Latino market. How much do you want for that? Money is all over the place. Trillions of dollars are in circulation. But if you're still going back to the river to pick up money with an old bucket, it has holes in it, and you're not going to do as well. You have to go with a new bucket. So, when we look at all of this, and these are all wonderful tools, I know most of these tools, I can add a few tools, I have tools of my own. You know what that does? Do you know what that does? Where's our erasers?
Permanent ink.
Kleenexes.
I'm supposed to use Kleenex on that?
It's this thing.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, so you have all of these things that I'm going to just be in your face and say, most of the time this takes you away from the divine. Most of the time this takes you away from the whiteboard. Now I say that's in your face because a lot of you are married to these ideas. A lot of you have patented and trademarked and written about this and recorded about this and made it your life. Dr. Hulen and I, Dr. Hulen's the guy who taught Ho'oponopono. He's my co-author on the book Zero Limits, and everybody has a copy of that in your welcome bag. He talked about this. He says that you are either getting, in any moment, inspiration or programming. What you're receiving in any moment is inspiration or programming. And he once said at one of the seminars we did together, a great way to start a religion is for one person to receive from the whiteboard an insight and then start telling the world about it and saying, here's the insight you should practice. You have now given everybody one removal from the whiteboard. And the guy who received the inspiration may or may not know, or the woman, may or may not know that they did that. The inspiration they received was for that person, not necessarily for everybody else. What I'm here to challenge you with is a healing technique and a clearing technique that's going to help you with prosperity, abundance, relationships, and everything else. Because all the problems that you experience are not coming from the divine, are not coming from inspiration, it's coming from the programming. It's coming from all the thoughts that are in your head, many of which you didn't even know were there, And the previous conversation we had, the dialogue we had earlier with the other presenter about the mass of the unconscious being 11 miles wide, that is absolutely correct. But what we have in our conscious mind is this one itty bitsy percentage, and we think it's the frickin' world. And we are deceived by it. We are sold by it, we buy into that, and what we need to do is erase it. And as we start erasing this, the whiteboard starts to appear again. And as the whiteboard appears, you are now becoming one with the divine. You are now becoming the divine. You are now living and breathing as the divine. Now, I've said this before, and I have an audio program called The Awakening Course. I've just turned it into a book. It'll be out a little bit later. And I talk about the 4 different stages of awakening. And I say the 4th is when you truly awaken and the ego you, the Joe, isn't there, the divine is living and breathing through me. And I'll say that to a lot of people, and they'll go, yeah, I'm there. Give me a break. If you are sitting there saying, I am awakened, you are almost certainly not awakened. You have bought into another program. So what we want to do is erase. I'm not saying from time to time the inspiration will come through and say, go ahead and do one of these things, but it'll be authentic to that moment. It won't be the thing that you say, we pull this out and we do this for everything and everybody in every moment for eternity. No more. How many of you read the book Zero Limits that I wrote with Dr. Huland? It's in your bag, so eventually you'll get a chance to read it, I hope. It is the most breathtaking story. This is on the level of the miraculous. And when I tell this to people, their jaws drop, they're inspired, some of them are nervous, because there's some elements to it that really make you have to own your own reality on a level that you may never have owned before. And it's a true story that I heard several years ago of a therapist who worked at a mental hospital for the criminally insane in Hawaii, using an unusual, mystical, secret Hawaiian healing method, helped heal every one of those patients. Pause. Mentally ill, convicted criminals in a mental institution, a mental hospital in Hawaii. They were so dangerous that people would visit and they'd walk scooting down the halls because those patients were violent. They were either sedated or shackled virtually every day. The turnover, the nurses would quit on a regular basis. They couldn't keep doctors, they couldn't keep therapists. Until one day, this therapist got the job opportunity, and he said, I'll go there, I'll work there, but I have to do my own method. I'm not actually going to do therapy with the patients. Let me see their files, I'll see them over lunch, but I'm not going to see them one-on-one. I'm not going to do traditional therapy with them. They agreed because they were desperate. They were absolutely desperate. So he goes there. He starts doing his little stuff. They think he's a strange bunny, but they let him go about his way. Within a few months, those patients that were shackled and sedated were being unshackled and not needing sedation. A few months after that, they started to be released. They were pronounced as healed. They were freed. Within a year or two, most of the ward was released. Within 4 years, they were all released and the ward was closed. Now, when I first heard that story, and I get chills right now every time I talk about this, it's like, how is this possible? I know about health and healing. I know about miracles. I've done all kind of work. I've done remote healing. I've been with shamans. I've done all kind of stuff. But to heal mentally ill criminals in a mental institution in a hospital in Hawaii and you not talk to them, you don't even see them physically, you don't do therapy with them one-on-one, how does that happen? I went looking for that therapist because at that point he was unknown, the therapy was unknown, and the story was more like an urban legend, which I thought it was. I found him, got him on the phone. He didn't know me, didn't know my work, but he was very generous. He answered all my questions. He said that whole story was true. I said, well, how did you do it? What were you doing? He said, my only purpose on earth is to clean. All I did was clean. What does that mean? Did you get the Windex out? Were you just cleaning their rooms? What were you doing? And he says, everything that comes up in your life is a program. And what I do is erase the program. Whenever a program showed up in his life, he would erase it. What does that mean? He went on to explain that he wouldn't see those patients. He'd look at their files. As he's looking at their files, he's looking at their paperwork, he'd feel things. Repulsed, angry, scared, frustrated. He knew that traditional therapy was not working because it had already been tried on these people. He had been brought up in a mystical tradition and learned it from a Huna and was using this to get different results. So whenever he looked at a person's chart, he noted what he felt. As he cleaned what he felt, the other person got better. This is so freaking relevant to everything all of us do. All of us do. So I went on and had my first seminar with him where I went and met him. Very grandfatherly-like fellow now. He's almost 70. And he really just says the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. It's basically, you just have to keep cleaning. Now, his cleaning method, which would end up being written on this board too, in fact it was, Ho'oponopono, right up there. But we'll take that off as I explain what it is. So Ho'oponopono is a way to take 100% responsibility for your life. What do we mean by that? 100% responsibility means if anything, anybody, shows up in your experience, you are responsible for it. No exceptions, no loopholes, no get out of jail card. And the way this was first explained to me is that Dr. Hulen said, haven't you ever heard the phrase, you create your own reality? Well, hell yes, I've heard it. I'm one of the people who write about it, and teach it. Well, if you create your own reality and a mentally ill criminal shows up in your reality, didn't you help create that reality, that person, that experience? Whoa. That's taking this to a quantum leap level of responsibility I didn't want to go to. And as I've learned, because I've now been promoting the book, and he and I have done several seminars together, most people don't want to go to. But he said it's all about taking 100% responsibility, whatever shows up in his life. He says that some program in him helped pull it into his reality. Now, what do we mean by some program? Those are the thoughts, those are the beliefs. That's that unconscious programming, but it goes deeper and further than what you might have ever thought before. Because Dr. Hulen is talking about you've inherited the programming from your ancestors. He says it goes all the way back to amoeba, that all of those generations and centuries of beliefs, of crimes, of unforgiveness, everything is there. It's in your unconscious. You have it. You have it. There's a famous bodybuilder, Dave Draper, who was the blonde bomber in the 50s movies. He's still around, still in shape, doing great, but he had a heart attack. When he had a heart attack, he told his doctors, how can I have a heart attack? I've been fit my entire life. I am fit now. How can I have a heart attack? Why will I need surgery? Why have I had this happen to me? What did I do wrong? And the doctor said, you didn't do a thing. Your grandparents did. And through the new study of epigenetics, they know that that was inherited into his system. He experienced the programming from them. So this programming is far deeper and more expansive and more powerful than what you think just came in with you when you were born. It isn't from just the birth on when they say those are your formative years. They're definitely your formative years. But you were formed before that. And we have to keep cleaning. So Dr. Hulen says that the best way to clean, in his opinion, and again, this would be written on the board, is to say 4 phrases. And some of you know those 4 phrases. Some of you practice those 4 phrases. Some of you know that I'm saying those 4 phrases in my mind right now because I'm cleaning as I'm speaking so that I can give you the best, most direct delivery, presentation from the divine that I can humanly give you at this point in time. I am cleaning now. On you, for you, through me. And I'm saying, you're welcome. And I'm saying, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, and thank you. Which is the essence of Zero Limits. You don't even have to read the book now. I'm telling you the story, and I'm telling you the secret method. I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. You can say it in any order that you like. Why would you say this? Because some people resist it. They don't want to say, I'm sorry. They say, what did I do? I don't want to say, please forgive me. I don't have to ask for forgiveness for anything. So I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. The way it's been explained to me and the way that I explain it is, you're saying, please forgive me for being so unconscious. Please forgive me because I have not been aware of everything going on in my life. I have not been aware of what I have had in me, my program, my beliefs from my ancestors or me, to bring in the reality I'm now experiencing. I'm sorry. I was not conscious. You're saying thank you because you're addressing all of this to what I call the whiteboard. You're addressing it to the divine, to God, whatever the word is for you. I just use the whiteboard because it just seems to be so visually, metaphorically relevant. That's God to me. And you're saying, thank you, God, for erasing this. Thank you for erasing this. And always ending with I love you. And if you want a short form, which I would be willing to give everybody here, all you really have to say is I love you. Can you imagine how your life will be different if the non-stop self-talk inside of you was nothing but I love you? You're not saying it to the other person, but you're saying it to yourself. Your whole vibe will change. Your whole interaction with the other person will change. What you send out to the universe will change. And you will be helping to clean the country, the world, everything, the universe, as you're doing this. I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. But you can just say, I love you. And as you do, you are cleaning. The more you clean, the more you're going to be able to receive inspiration. Because remember I said earlier, you're either going to be receiving programming, which is any of this data, the 11 miles worth of data that's available at any moment, all of this centuries worth of programming that goes all the way back to who the hell knows where it started. You can be pulling programming from there, or you can be pulling inspiration. And when it comes, you act. But in order to get there, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, and thank you. I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, and thank you. As I look at the file here, what?
The file.
Yes, I was looking at somebody's file. I just don't know whose it was. So let me give you another example here. This is one I gave to Debbie earlier, and she liked it a lot, so I should share it. So it's coming up for me in the moment. Okay, I was mentioning I like cars. A year and a half ago, I saw a car. I didn't intend to buy this car. In fact, I had never intended to even look at this particular car. And it's a Rolls-Royce Phantom. One of the most expensive, one of the most beautiful, one of the most divine cars ever made, one of the most divine cars I've ever seen in my life, one of the most divine rides that you would ever experience is in a Rolls-Royce Phantom. Note, I was not looking for a Rolls-Royce Phantom. It was not on my wish list. It was not on my intention list. And in fact, I tell people today, intentions are for wimps. Intentions are for wimps. You either have intentions or you have inspirations. And I used to be the cheerleader for intentions and wrote books on how to do intentions. You can still create a reality with intentions, but I find a much more magical, surprising, miraculous reality when I just say, the hell with intentions and let inspiration come. When I saw this car, I was actually doing the Miracles Weekend when I saw you, Ariel, in San Diego. And I went and we saw the car. I fell in love with the car. I bought the car. Impulse purchase on the day. That was the day that the stock market had crashed the most number of points since 1929. I snubbed my nose at that. I bought a Rolls-Royce Phantom that very day. Okay, I was doing this from inspiration. But let me show you how this also triggered something else. So I'm buying the car, I'm walking around the car, and I'm looking at it going, it's big enough to have meetings in it. And then I thought, God, I wonder if anybody would pay to have a meeting in the car with me. And so by the time I got back through Texas, I had written up an email that announced the Rolls-Royce Phantom Mastermind. You fly into the Austin airport, I'll pick you up in a Rolls-Royce Phantom, and you and another passenger, or two passengers, I would take two, we'll go for a little ride through the hill country of Texas. We'll go and have a wonderful dinner. We will talk. You can ask me anything that you want about anything. It can be personal, it can be private, it can be business, whatever that you want to ask me about my books, it doesn't matter. Or nothing at all. We can sit and meditate for those hours. And I'll get back in the car, we'll take them back to the hotel. And I thought, geez, I'm making all this up. Where's it coming from? Inspiration. What do most people go say? Dumb idea. Nobody will ever pay for that. Why would they pay to ride around a Rolls Royce with you? Why would they fly from another country to go do that? But I thought, this is coming through. Salute, take your orders, act. Wrote the email, sent it out. What did I decide to charge? $5,000 a person. So 2 people, $5,000 each, they can be in the back. If only one person wanted to be with me, it's $7,500. Made all this up. Did it work? I've been doing Rolls-Royce Phantom Masterminds for the last year and a half. Last December, it got to the point where I got bored. I was doing one a week and thinking, my God, I can't keep eating this much and drinking this much. And some people they flew in from France, Italy, Switzerland. I don't even remember all the different countries. And they were flying in only for this. And so I just bought this other car, this handmade spiker, and so I've announced the Spiker Mastermind. And it's a smaller car, so it can only hold one person, but I already had a person say, I'll come and do it. You know, where does that come from? Where does that come from? You know, I think that this is inspiration, and I think that this is coming from cleaning, nonstop cleaning. And for a guy who was homeless, maybe this is one reason I'm collecting cars. You know, no car, no house, no nothing. Because people say, what kind of car did you live in when you were homeless? Car? It would have been so cool and wonderful and a relief to have a car. So maybe that's one reason I'm collecting cars. But the kind of cars now they come to me seem to come from inspiration. When I decide to do something with them, it isn't me sitting there brainstorming and strategizing and masterminding anything. That comes from inspiration, and what I do is say yes to it. I've been with Dr. Lind several times, especially when we were researching the book. And we'd go for walks, we'd have coffee, and he'd buy a pastry or something, and he'd slap a $20 bill down as a tip. So the person who didn't even wait on us would just rung up the register. And he was just practicing prosperity. He was just saying there's no lack or limitation. This isn't something he would do all the time. He was doing it from the moment. He was doing it from the inspiration. He wasn't doing it from the programming. The programming would be something like telling yourself, the more money I give, the more money I'm going to receive. The more tithing that I do, the more money I'm going to get back. All of which is true, but this all comes from the programming. What I've learned is that if we just snub our noses at intentions and come from inspiration, we will have so much more than our ego could ever give us. Because the other problem with intentions is that they basically come from our past. What do you usually think about when you have an intention? It's like I did a record sales last month, so my intention is I want to double it. Well, that's an ego intention. That's the kind of intention your ego comes up with because it's based on what the ego knows. The ego says, this is my past, this is what's possible, so we'll stretch what's possible a little bit. The divine doesn't have that limitation. The divine doesn't have any limitation. So when it says, Joe, you can charge $7,500 or maybe more for a Rolls-Royce Mastermind, that has nothing to do with my ego coming up with an intention. There was no intention. That came as a surprise. So let me tell you another one. This may even shock you. It certainly has wowed me. Because that didn't come from me. It came from here. It came from the whiteboard. As I'm constantly cleaning, here it comes. I've mentioned several times about being homeless. Well, that scarred me for a long time. I never even used to talk about it until some people had heard the story and intimate conversation, and they would say, you've got to talk about it because it's going to inspire people. Most people are just going to think, oh, he's lucky, or he was always born writing books and all this came easy to him. They don't know that I'm an overnight success if you count overnight as 30-some years. And so I have owned it, part of my shadow self, to heal it, and I'm doing something about it. I created Operation Yes. Yes stands for Your Economic Solution. And it is a movement to end homelessness in this country. When I first announced it, I was at a small mastermind. Well, the mastermind has egos in it. Nobody thought this was going to work. This is too big. And I said, you know what? I'm taking orders. This has come through from what I think is the divine. It feels like inspiration. I'm saluted. I'm going to make it so. At least I'm going to announce it. When I announce it, the next steps will come up. So I announce it. And suddenly, people started volunteering. What can I do to help? And then I started looking into, well, how do I become a nonprofit? Somebody else tells me, here's how you do it. We're a nonprofit now. And then as I talk about it in places like this, at one conversation, CNN TV in Houston heard me, contacts me and says, I want to make a TV show and a documentary and a movie about Operation Yes and You. And he said, let's go back to Dallas. Now this is where I get chills all over me. Let's go back to Dallas and relive your homeless years. Oh, shit. But I said yes. I said yes. And for the first 3 nights before we ever left to go to Dallas, I couldn't sleep. Part of me going, I don't think I'm going to remember anything, 30-some years ago. And part of me going, I'm afraid I am going to remember things. But I said yes. The cool thing was, we went back to Dallas in my Rolls Royce. So you talk about a head-turning experience. I still remember, because a friend drove me, so I'm in the back seat of my Rolls Royce Phantom, and my friend's driving me into Dallas, and I saw the Dallas skyline. And I'm going, man, we don't know what's happening in our lives, and we don't know what's possible. I mean, for me to be on the streets, to be broke for so long, and end up in a Rolls Royce Phantom that a friend of mine is driving me while CNN is filming this whole thing. And they take me downtown, which is the place I was avoiding, because I would go back to Dallas, but I'd stay away from the downtown. I was avoiding it, that's where I stayed, that's where I lived. I was on the streets, I was on the park benches. And thank God for the library, because that's where I spent most of my time. That's where I learned. That's where I worked on myself. He took me back there, mic'd me, camera on me. Joe, tell us what you're feeling. And man, I wanted to dart. I wanted to dodge. I didn't want to say anything, but I knew this was important. It was important that I did it for me, for my cleansing. So I continued the clearing, so I didn't relive all of that stuff in my haunted unconscious. So this was all coming up as an inspiration, and I'm just saying yes, 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 yes. And we go to the library, we go into the public library. And as I'm there, I'm remembering the different floors I was on. There were certain floors, had business sections and things I was working on, and I was trying to develop myself in the self-improvement thing. Napoleon Hill and The Magic of Believing, Claude Bristol, books that saved my life. Because I didn't want to live. I mean, suicidal moments were there too. And so he's filming all of that. And as I was there, I started to relax. I started to realize that, hey, everything's okay. You made it. We started looking around, and my books are on the shelf. We wander around a little bit more, and there's this young fellow with a stack of business books, and he's studying them. And I saw myself there. I swear to God, I saw myself in him. And he was looking at books, and I knew that many of the books, and so I walked over and I said, those are great books. I know that one in particular and this other one. And I said, what are you trying to do? He said, I'm trying to do internet marketing. And I said, well, let me tell you a quick story. He told him about me being homeless and coming into that library 30-some years ago and wanting to be an author. And he was reading my books. And my books were on the shelf. But Operation Yes has come from here. And yes, there's been healing there. There will be dramatically more healing for me and everybody else involved. But all I'm doing is, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. Or I just, I love you. Making it a non-stop meditation. I have been teaching this now for a few years. Most of the time I just do this kind of quietly in ninja mode. But if I get a chance to speak like this and it feels appropriate, I go ahead and bring it out. I'm at the point where I'll be teaching a volume 2 and coming out with some of the advanced Ho'oponopono methods. And I want to teach you one of them right now that I've only taught one other time, just a few weeks ago in Poland. And when I did it, most people were crying, because it's a way to release one of the stuck issues in your life. I just want you to let whatever bubbles up for you to be the one that you accept, no argument, no resistance, whatever comes up for you. Maybe there's a relationship problem, maybe there's one that was in the past, but it's not done, you still have it in your awareness. Close your eyes, leave your eyes open, it doesn't matter, just relax into this. Allow something to come up for you, because whatever's coming up is right in this moment. So take it. You'll have a visual, you'll have a sensory awareness, it may be something you feel, maybe something you see, maybe something you experience in your body and you're actually reliving it right now. From the Ho'oponopono tradition, this is not happening outside of you, this person is not outside of you, this experience is not outside of you, it is inside of you. When you change this inside experience, not only will you have peace, But more often than not, the outer will dissolve, it will change, it will transform in the most magical, sometimes mysteriously surprising ways. Trust the process. As you're visualizing this, as you're feeling this, just imagine that you can slice the image up. Pair of scissors, sharp edge of a business card, whatever comes to mind as your tool of choice, allow it to come up, and in your mind, just experience it being cut up. Chiseled up, dissolved, burned if you like, but let this image, this feeling, this energy dissolve. It might happen instantly. It might happen over the next few minutes as you go about the day and we move into lunch. And whenever you want, just open your eyes, back into the room, and let that process happen. Now, as you're doing anything in your life, including this experience, you can be saying, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, and thank you. I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, and thank you. I often ask Dr. Hulen, do you have to believe it when you say it? You have to believe, I love you, when you say it? He said, no. Saying it is the open sesame that begins the process of reconnecting to the divine. Say it enough and you'll start to experience it. My experience has been that the divine is love. Again, I'm putting my personal words on this, but the divine, the blackboard, is love. And the more I say I love you, the more I reconnect with this. I don't know if anybody here has seen the movie Karl, which is about Pope John from Poland. Magical, transformative movie. See the movie Karl. The Man Who Became Pope, I think is the subtitle, K-A-R-L. In it, he is talking to a Russian skeptic, a Russian atheist about religion. And I've always loved this line because Karl says, what you call nothing is what I call everything. As we keep cleaning, we get to what looks like nothing. We get to what looks like there is nothing here at all. But that's everything. That's everything. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit, but it's a hard
No,
question.
wait a minute, before you do that. Okay, he's speaking. He just said he's going to play devil's advocate for a little bit. It's a program. Okay? No, I'm serious.
Mm-hmm.
He is vocalizing a program. I am not dismissing what you're about to say. I am not dismissing you. What I am saying is that I was on a radio show with Dr. Hulen one time, and we were taking calls from different people. And I was amazed that some of the people who called in with either an angry or a resentful tone to their voice. And we went to a commercial. I told Dr. Hulen about how I was surprised, and he just so naturally said, it's not them, it's the program. It's not them, it's the program. And I'm sorry if that waters down anything you're about to say, but I had to point this out because this is what each of us is living. What's coming up is this program. Deliver your program, please.
It's okay, I don't want to speak anymore.
Which is your program.
So, if you have huge resentment to somebody in your life, let's say to a parent or something, just for example, not my situation, of course, and you say these phrases, which I have read your book and I have experimented with this. What is the possibility or the danger of just repressing feelings that maybe need to bubble up and putting a gloss of sort of positive light?
Oh, I love that. Thank you. That's a great question. By doing this, you're not repressing anything, you're not denying anything. Whatever comes up, actually, whatever comes up, whatever needs to come up, is what you're supposed to clean on. So, whatever those feelings are, they may start to be resentful, they may start to be angry, they may start to be peaceful. Whatever that is, you clean on everything. As you clean on that, you're cleaning on layers of energy below this. What Dr. Hulen explains is that if you knew how much cleaning was being done on such a deep level as you did, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you, you would never, ever stop. Because what the conscious mind is looking for when it cleans is, give me the evidence, I'm saying I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you, I'm doing all the techniques, give me the evidence, where's my change? I didn't see the other person change. You know, where is it? And what he's pointing out is that 11 miles of unconscious data that is out there is what is being cleaned a tiny little bit at a time. When Dr. Hulen first said that this is going to take a long time, we have a whole lot of cleaning to do, I was depressed by that. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. That's what came up for me, because I wanted the easy button. You seen the commercial, the office thing? You just hit the easy button and everything changes? Yeah. I'm an entrepreneur, I'm looking for the easy button. When I find it, I'm going online with it. Easy button change. But that's not how it's working. That's not how it's working. So, who had a question? Yes?
Are you speaking the I love you, I forgive you, I'm sorry to the feeling or the experience or to the content of the story?
You are speaking the feelings. He's asking about where do you speak it, the I feel, or the I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. Who are you addressing? The divine, the whiteboard. You are not addressing the feelings. You are not addressing the other person. You never even talk to the other person unless you feel inspired to. You are only addressing the whiteboard. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you, so that you can keep cleaning what you're perceiving to be the problem. What you're doing here is cleaning your own vision. You're looking at this particular reality, whatever it happens to be, and you're saying to yourself that this is a problem, let's change it. Well, that perception isn't out there, that's in you. The example I gave the other day to somebody was, and I've given this in presentations, is that most of us try to change the world in the same way that if we went into the bathroom to shave, we put the cream on the mirror, or we put the makeup on the eyes in the mirror, instead of doing it on ourselves. Yes, oh God is right. Everything out there is a projection. This is my terminology here. Everything out there, including all of you, and I did really great with this projection, is a projection from the mental movie inside of me, coming from my programming. My programming is what is going out to collect, attract, create, whatever you want to call that, to pull you into my experience. If there's something here I don't like, it is part of my programming that needs to be cleaned or cleared. It's not that I need to go and talk to you and say, hey, I didn't like what you said, fix that, take it back. No, inside of me needs to be cleared. Here and over there, yes.
Yeah, there's something that I do, selling, and I sell really well. And my method of selling is not very evolved. And
I can guess at so many different ways you can do this.
Yeah, but I'm really good at it. And a fellow TLC member has been suggesting that I clean it up. I've also been thinking of it even before that. And I'm just scared shitless to do it any other way. Because when a promoter invites me to come to their event, they're counting on me. So I've got all kinds of excuses, like I don't have the right to experiment on their dime, and they're counting on me, and I'm really good at it.
All of those things that you just said is what needs to be cleared. All of that about your concerns, about your fears, about your doubts, that's what you cleared. Further note, now that all of you have heard this, you are clean and clear on this. This is now in your reality. Everything that comes up, and then somebody else says they have a problem, it's not their problem. If it's in your reality, you are co-creating it, and you are responsible for helping to heal it. And the one way I'm proposing that you can heal it is with this zero limits, ho'oponopono, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, or just I love you. We want to work back to the divine. Everything that's out there that's in between us and the divine is what needs to be cleared. Quick story for you, it's in Zero Limits, you'll get to read it sooner or later. One of the most incredible salespeople in California with a luxury, a Toyota Lexus dealership, I think is what it is, holds the sales records for the most number of sales for the entire year. I interviewed him because I'm enough of a marketer, an entrepreneur, and a journalist to want to find out what people are doing. And he said, all I'm doing is cleaning. I was like, come on, not that again. He said, all I'm doing is what Dr. Hulen taught me to do. When I meet people, when he meets people, he meets Morty wants to go buy a car, he doesn't talk to him about the car. He's cleaning inside of himself. He's saying, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. What were you here for? He was here to see a car. Inside of his mind, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. And he has a conversation with them. People will come in who are only looking, and they'll leave with a car for the husband, a car for the wife, and a car for a child. And all he is doing is he's completely neutral. There is no intention. There is no sort of manipulation. All he is doing is inside of himself, making sure he is totally clean and at peace. And whatever comes up, buys a car, great. Doesn't buy a car, that's fine too. They more often than not buy a car, or it's plural. Now, over here.
Take that, Aaron.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know where the mic's going.
So I'm just a little fuzzy on who you said I'm talking to the divine when I said, I love you, please forgive me, thank you, I'm sorry. But in the book, when he was reading the charts, didn't he put himself into the experience of being the crazy criminal person and then say those things? So I'm just not clear.
Yeah, great question. Great question. So we have a person who has the program of fuzziness right now, and we're going to clean this because many of us have this, but it's also in us. I have asked him that question in particular, and what he's cleaning on is what comes up within him. So he's not reading it and projecting what that person was feeling or what they were thinking or what they were being motivated by. He's not guessing at that. What he's looking at is that this person was a murderer and a rapist, and my God, he feels the rage of it. That's in him. That's what he cleans on. And as he cleans on that, son of a gun, that other person somehow changes. The program, this is so important, the program that is in the other person that you have picked up on, you are sharing with. On an unconscious level, you have the program too. That's why you notice it. As you clean on the program in you, it gets clean on the program in him, and it gets clean on the program in everybody. This is so incredibly powerful. Thank you for the question. Yes, you have your...
2 parts. Is it any more powerful to clean silently internally than externally out loud? That's part 1. And part 2 is, I thought I heard you say change the order a couple of times.
Good questions. Yeah, great. Okay, first is almost always it's done internally. You know, this is a personal relationship between you and the divine. And so you can't say it out loud if you feel inspired to. There's no rules about that. But the way it was taught to me, the way as I understand it, is that we always said it quietly, silently, as a personal connection, as a type of prayer, as a type of mantra or song to the divine itself. And as for the order, you can say it whatever order you like. You know, I tend to be going with, I'm sorry, please forgive me, because I'm starting with, I have an issue, a problem. Something is going off in my world. And so the first response for me is I got to take total responsibility. It means that I have missed the mark in some way. I'm sorry I was unconscious. Please forgive me for not being aware. That's where I start. And then I'll move into thank you, because gratitude alone is so powerful. And then into I love you. But that's my preferred way of doing it. No particular order. Yes?
I just want to thank you for what you're saying, because I'm experiencing this on a lot of different levels. And what I'm understanding you saying, if a person is coming into my life, I understand that person is an aspect of me, because we are all one anyway. Yeah. So fundamentally, we're all one. So that person's an aspect of me. That person is me. So they're coming into me. They're showing me an aspect of myself that I might have disowned, that we were talking about yesterday, that I might have not forgot about, coming in so I can be healed myself. So I'm getting this of I love you, so that creates the welcoming. And then I'm getting I'm sorry because I have rejected you and put you someplace where I didn't want to know you. And so I'm sorry for that. And please forgive me. The origin of forgiveness, some people say, is to go as before. So let's go as we were before and thank you, and let's celebrate together. And I just want to thank you. I just never got it to this level that you're talking about.
You are very welcome. Thank you. Thank you. 1 or 2 questions, and I'll be out of time. Her hand's been up. Yes.
Okay, I would like to hear how you define or how you can feel the difference between inspiration and the program.
That is one of the best questions I've asked Dr. Gulenda, because I've got to, I'm sure some of you have thought this.
Yeah.
And it's something we can put on here. Confusion.
Yeah, I did.
Shared program, thank you. So she was asking, how do you know the difference between inspiration and a program? How do you know the difference between inspiration and a program? How do you know the difference between this telling you, hey Joe, do a Rolls Royce mastermind, or is that a program about some wealth attraction technique that I got from somebody else unconsciously? I don't know. I asked Dr. Gulenda, and he said, you know what? You don't know. That's why you have to keep cleaning. You don't know. We have so much garbage, we have so much of that 11 million miles of data there that's in the way that we have to just keep doing the best we can. And by saying, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, and thank you, we get closer and closer to being with that divine. So the basic answer is, you don't know. Not with 100% clarity, at least not at this point in time. One more question, because it's counting me down fast. Marcy?
Right here.
Right there.
Nope.
No, there's-
Oh, over there. Is it?
Yeah,
Oh, this Marcy.
I've been doing this for about 3 months solid, and it's kind of like a tape now in my head. I wake up with it in the morning and kind of go with it at night a lot. And there doesn't necessarily have to be something going on. And I'm wondering, is that just the same thing? Just cleaning?
Yes.
I'm just letting my body or my beingness is how it feels to me.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, I won't do it for a few days, and then all of a sudden it'll come on real strong, and there's really nothing going on, but it's just there, run. Is that an experience you had?
Yes, it has. I got to the point where I would wake up and it was going on. It was almost like part of my dream world, my astral world. Let's sneak in one more question with her. Her hand's been up for a long time. And so I find that that's been going on. I think it's a wonderful thing. You know, it's like make money while you sleep. It's like get clean while you sleep. So I like this approach.
Well, it's actually similar to that question. How different is it if you're just doing it rotely versus actually having your attention on what is going on?
That's a great question. I have found that if I do this on a true problem, meaning there's something in my awareness and it is bothering me, it is eating me up, and I'm very intense and focused about cleaning on it, I get results faster. Just by doing it by rote, I think there's some background cleaning the windows that's probably going on. But if I'm really focused and I'm taking care of an issue, really speed. I've got to end because I'm right down to the wire. Let me say just a couple things here. Thank you for the honor of speaking in front of you, especially when you didn't know what I was going to speak about, and of course neither did I. And thank you for helping me clean the whiteboard here. Yeah, I know, I'm not done. I'm not done. I'm here with you. And I want you to know that I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me.
Thank you.
Thank you.